how early we invest into a better wallet or invest into other wallet projects and make them better. Yeah, so right now it's all just promises and imagination, but not a lot of concrete evidence.
Sure.
Like I search all the time to see who, if someone has published, user research on all this stuff yet. I mean, as of now, I haven't seen too much. Cause I don't want to do all the work. I'd rather read other people's work and just be able to move on. But hopefully, as we wrap up some conclusions, we can publish ourselves and help other developers and designers. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that you guys are going to publish that, whatever you find,
Yeah. I mean, it's also good PR for us, so that doesn't hurt.
Well, 100%. Yeah. And I mean, like, this ties back into the content marketing and content strategy. Like, if you guys can leverage the work that you're already doing to build a great product and use that to market the company, why wouldn't you?
Right.
Okay.
Well, I would say right now, I mean, the content strategy advice would be quite useful because most of it is going to be a bummer. Most of my conclusion so far is not super encouraging. Like one consistent thing that I'm finding is, again, one of the big promises of Ethereum is you can design all these awesome smart contracts. Yeah. But the problem is the smart contracts are super expensive to deploy onto the Ethereum network. One of the many reasons why, George and Pat have decided to commit to building this platform as the next step, because all these things that we can't do in the TLC, we're finding as major roadblocks. We want to solve so we can serve the unbanked better as we make the TLC better, but we need this infrastructure. So for example, to launch a smart contract on the Ethereum network sometimes could cost $40.
Yeah.
USD. And in my research, none of them have noticed how much these things cost. They just click. And there's this concept of, because they always pay attention when they're about to put like 0.1 ETH into a lending circle. It's like, okay, be really careful, they do the whole thing. But when it comes time to just deploy a contract, they just figure that's not going to cost money because it doesn't say pay on it. They don't notice that that's actually $40 off gas. So these are all little UX problems that I don't think anyone's really, it hasn't been solved yet. Because it's a brand new mental model. We're not trained to think about, creating a group on Facebook as costing money. So I just say create group.
Yep.
When I Venmo you money, then I'm careful, like, is there any fees, right?
Yeah, that is interesting. It kind of integrates like UI, like whatever you're performing in the UI, whatever you're doing could potentially cost you money.
It's a brand new mental model, which is why I'm so interested in watching people do this to see how they respond to this mental model. So right now, a lot of my suspicions has been sort of confirmed that they'll notice the gas. And so now that suspicion is confirmed, we can do some experiments to see if can we change the design around so that they will notice it.
Right.
The tough part is a lot of these things happen not in our app, but in the wallet application, which in this case is MetaMask. So there's nothing we can actually do about it.
But if you were to build the platform, you would have more control over it.
That's true, but we're very far away from being able to deploy a functioning wallet so people can test. So I have to come up with other kind of ways to fake it, which is possible. It's just
sure.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what would you say the number one content problem is that you have right now for your work?
Right now, it's in the particular instance of the TLC, there's nothing that really stands out beyond, so we haven't written that much tutorials yet. So engaging, not, concise, guides and tutorials would be super helpful. So right now, if you come to the lending circle, you have an empty state. We just say, hey, you don't have any circles, please create a circle. I think that's awesome. But a much better empty state experience would be, welcome to the Trusted Lending Circle. Let's teach you how it works. Like a quick list. A thing that pretty much people are going to click skip, 90% of the times.
Sure.
But for the 10% of the time, they don't, they know that at least you're making an effort, so they're skipping through, but they know that they're skipping through something, that you can come back to it and unskip it later when you want to. I think that would be pretty huge. Yeah.
Is there any other? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. So I think that right now is the biggest thing. Just ask your question was earlier, how well do they know the lending circle concept? Is that for the most part they don't.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Just a lot more hand holding, a lot more informative, content, but not in a please read this essay sort of way, but more in an integrated sort of way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In-app copy, micro copy, sort of like walking them through the interface, showing them how it works, that sort of thing. Tool tips.
To a certain extent. I always find the tool tips are sort of, whenever I see too many tool tips pop up in an interface,
a crutch.
You're right. Those are the things that, okay, I need to focus on those 5 areas where the tool tips appear.
Uh-huh.
And also, for the most part, they're not used.
Mm-hmm.
When I do data tracking and the tool tips I deploy, they're not open all that often.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. Is there any other kind of content that you would like to have to support your work?
So I think for the TLC, I don't have a strong answer for you, mostly because again, we have a real mismatch in available, market versus a design for market. So I think it's hard for us to ask you to come up with the right places for content or not places, but the right message that we're having a hard time communicating.
Right.
We help us design where to put it and how to put it. Mm-hmm. So I don't have answers for that as much, but I think 100% as we develop this new platform,
mm-hmm.
There's going to be so much room, how to message, what is planning to do, what it is doing now, positioning it in the right phase. And then we're going to have like a goal to have a viable product with some killer cool stuff in like, I think, what was it, like 20-ish weeks?
Wow.
20, maybe June, August-ish. We want to have something interesting, very, very bare bones, with a much bigger picture ahead. So, I mean, documentation wise, I don't know if you guys work on that at all. And just
say that again.
I don't know if you guys do documentation stuff at all. For tech writing.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge, and also just how-to guides, just sort of get developers, into the fold, highlighting the key features that we suspect are going to be quite popular.
Yep. Do you feel like the messaging framework, like, are you familiar with a messaging framework or like a brand guide? Sometimes they call it. It has like, mission, vision, tone of voice, concept summary, brand pillars.
It would be awesome.
Yeah.
So we don't have that right now.
You don't have that. Do you feel like you would need that? So what I've been trying to figure out as I talk to people is whether we need one because it seems like the TLC and the platform are like, different products. And usually what you would do is like, you would have a messaging framework for the company. And you have a separate like sub framework for the TLC and a sub framework for the platform. Right. But that said, if the company ends up going the direction where the platform is the main product, we may want like the main messaging framework to be the platform and then the TLC to be sub.
I would say that they would be separate because the audience is so incredibly different.
Mm-hmm.
Right now our main persona for the platform is, developers who are like kind of crypto explorers. Like they're engineers, they're programmers, and they learn about cryptocurrency. Things are so cool, and they're eager to wade into a tech field that is so completely changing all the time. Nothing makes anything. Nothing actually really works, and they don't mind. And so the messaging and So that's our primary persona for this new platform.